So, hello and welcome to part 2, which has come out a little bit earlier than I thought because I've had a couple of evenings sitting. So what I've done is worked on quite a lot of the sides, and I've got 2 blank sides that don't need doors and windows, so I'll show you what we're going to do with those later. So, obviously now we've got to put it together a bit like a kit. So what we're going to use is, I've got lots of these. These are offcuts from doing windows and doors, cut as triangles and squares, and they're going to be my supports. So the first thing I'm going to do is one of the long sides. So we're going to use that side. We've got a blank side to match it, and I've got 2 ends here. So relatively simple. We're going to take one of these and we're going to put some supports on it. And do them top and bottom like that, so they're flush with this edge, fairly obviously. There we go. I'm just going to let those dry for a minute. You'll find that if you're using a good PVA like this, bizarrely they will just sit like that till they dry. So there we go. We're going to do some here as well, like that, and this will be the start for it. And we just leave those to dry for a second, and while we're waiting for those to dry, what we can do is the same on this piece, remembering to have the black on the inside. There we go. Now you'll see that I have a fairly rough and ready way of making buildings. It won't suit everybody, but I like it. It's going to come out of a good little building at the end of it. Now there's lots of ways you could do this. You could cut out a floor plan, so you could cut a big chunky piece of wood or thick card and use that. But I find by the time I've tried to work out which floors are going where, which walls rather are going where, I prefer to use this method because I can build it as I go along, which tends to be the way, as anybody that watches regularly knows, that we do budget model railways. We don't do an awful lot of planning before we do things. Somebody did get very upset about it the other week, didn't he? We get the occasional person gets very upset. That's the trouble when you challenge the way things have been done. So we've got our side there. So now all we've got to do is get these 2 ends on there, like that. Should be relatively simple. Now what I have had to do is just cut some of the sellotape away from where it was on the windows, because obviously the PVA won't glue onto sellotape. So, excuse there might be a slight change in light and quality here because we ran out of battery and then we ran out of light. So I've just put the end on, which you've seen. Now what that has given me chance to do is to glue these supports on all my other component parts. And then instead of them just being a little bit flimsy like they would have been, obviously this is the next day, so they're nice and dry. So what we're going to do now is start assembling the building. So the next thing we've got to put on here is another end. But the glue's frozen because it's freezing here at the moment. There we go. Using the Mark 1 spreader. And then this can then go on there. Actually, that's the wrong piece. That's that piece. because I've marked them. And then we'll just leave that to touch dry for a minute, like that. Now you've seen one, I'm just going to put this other side on so that you can see how we make the square, and then we'll time lapse it, because otherwise we'll be up into another sort of 30-minute video like we were with the first part. And then obviously when we've done this, hopefully then fairly soon I can do the roof one. Now this piece is semi-internal wall, so that's why we've only got brick paper at the two ends. I'm just going to put that in there. This is one of the reasons, incidentally, that I see a lot of people saying how good some of the very quick acting PVA glues are, things like Rocket. I think the only thing I've got against them is that if it dries too quickly, you haven't got any wriggle room if things have gone a little bit wrong. Like that bit, I just want to pull out there like that. So that's that piece, that can be drying. And then we can look at the rest, and we'll do this as a time lapse so it's not too boring. Right, so there we go, there you have it. That's our building, all lined up there. Just a few little bits of tweaking to do, but you can get the idea. And then we'll leave that to dry. And we'll leave that there overnight actually, so it's dried nicely. And then the next time we do it, we'll show you how we tidy the corners of the walls up and take it from there. Hi, thanks for watching the video and for the nice comments. Click on the left for a previous video in this series, click on the right for another video you might enjoy, and please don't forget to click to subscribe, like, comment, etc. Thanks again.